hello, ninjas, for Kick Conflict to the Curb membership. I'm Joyce Weiss, and I am so happy to say that we have a guest who I've known for a long time, from the National Speakers Association of Michigan, from the Video Rockstars. She and I have become accountability partners for our classes. Mainly, she is the real deal. So nice, so kind. I need her in this class because she brings a softness of which you know about me already. So bold. We need to have more Aprils in our life. April is an internationally known organizational change management expert who has implemented change for government, healthcare, higher education, and corporate clients. She's the author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Ready, Set, Change, Simplify and Accelerate Organizational Change. You'll see her sign right there. As a change expert, April was one of the first certified change management professionals worldwide. As a leader of Springboard Consulting, a boutique change management consulting firm, she works to create pain-free, love that, and lasting change in organizations. She learned to develop the global standard for change management. She's a project management professional, certified speaking professional, and president of ACMP Michigan. She speaks frequently to organizations, especially ours, about preparing people for change and leading a positive workplace. You think that's enough? Give me some drum rolls. I got more. April's been profiled in Time Magazine, the New York Times, and loves splitting wood to heat the house and tending her chickens. So I asked April, give me some fun facts. And she said, I have 6 children, a complete Brady Bunch. I have 3 daughters, 26, 24, 19. And my husband has 3 children, a boy 28, a boy 24, and a girl 21. So we are still somewhat busy helping all of them become full-fledged adults.
Cool.
I have 5 chickens. 5 chickens left out of a flock of 12. They are free range, and she already told us that she likes splitting wood. So after that, and I got to tell you, after her name, April Callis Birchmeier, CCMP, PMP, CSP. There are so many letters after your name, April. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. So April, welcome to our session. Thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
And before I ask you any questions, do you want to bring your bio to life and tell either people here, or of course there will be a recording for some of the other members, a little bit more about you before we get right into the program?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I love organizational change management. I feel like it's a little bit of a mystery to many people. You know, what exactly does that mean? And organizational change management is kind of a combination field, combination profession, if you will. It's communication, training and development, and process redesign. So it's those 3 things. And then usually we're deploying those pieces around an IT initiative. So I work a lot with PMI groups, with Project Management Institute, and I'm a PMP, which is Project Management Professional, in addition to my change credentials. But the thing that I love about it is that I enjoy projects, and I think they're exciting and interesting. And if you have sort of a terrible attention span as I do, they're really good for you because you don't have to stay doing it forever. You can work on a project for a while and move on to some other project. But I love organizational change management. I'm very passionate about it. And I feel like people who are project management professionals or in that area, or HR professionals also, I think are perfect candidates to become change management professionals. And I have to just tell you, I did some research, and there were like, when I looked at LinkedIn, I typed in PMP, I found 1.5 million PMPs in LinkedIn. I found like 897,000 SPHRs, right, which is the HR certification. But there are only about 1,400 CCMPs in the world, because it's a new designation for a relatively new association, only 10 years old. And so if you really want to sort of differentiate yourself and distinguish yourself from others in the field, if you're a PMP and you add the CCMP designation to your skill set and to your title, you're one of maybe 200 people in the world instead of one of 1.5 million. Same goes for the SPHR, right? So if you are one of 889,000 SPHRs in the world, and you add the CCMP to your skill set and to your designations, then you're one of probably 100, because there's not that many folks who have their CCMP and their SPHR. So I think that it's a fantastic opportunity, and you don't always get these opportunities, right? To be newly certified with a new designation. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting time. I've been very involved with the Association of Change Management Professionals. And, you know, Joyce says, I worked with people over the years, project management professionals and other project leaders on different types of, you know, initiatives. One of the things that would get me so frustrated is that they always thought change management was extremely complicated. And there's some training, and I've been to this training where you get like 80 or 90 templates and all sorts of tools and all sorts of stuff, and you don't even know what to do with it. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? And I know how to lead change. So what I decided 2 years ago, I was working on a higher ed project, and we had all these vendors coming in. They each had their own extremely complex methodology for helping people change. And what I decided was that I'm really tired of not being able to talk to the project management team in a way that we both understand how to do this. So I thought, you know, they ask me all the time, do you think everyone is ready? Do you think we'll be ready? Are we ready? And I thought, I'm going to use that word ready as an acronym to hang my steps on, to help project management teams and other individuals who are not change management experts know what to do, when to do it, to help people adopt change more quickly. And so that's when I wrote the book. It came out just last February, and it's called Ready, Set, Change. And it's been a really exciting journey to share this idea with others and to see people putting it into practice and see their results as they can increase adoption with their change initiatives.
Oh my God, this is such a good, we now know the why of the title of your book, because there's always a why. And now we know, ready. Now, I got to ask you this. How do you deal with someone who doesn't want to change? I mean, membership, raise your hand. Do you know somebody who doesn't like to deal with change? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm asking. I sure do. I live with one, but we're not talking about who.
Oh, he just had a birthday, and you're gonna.
He's a great guy, Alan. He's a wonderful person.
And you're gonna throw him under the bus already.
No, and I appreciate you saving him. I'm not throwing him under the bus. The reality, I love change. He doesn't. That's what makes it work.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, Alan, the guys have to stick together. So, April, tell us, how can we who like change deal with those that don't?
Well, that's a great question. And I think that, you know, here's what I find interesting is I would say nobody really likes change. I mean, even when we have positive changes in our life, it's not easy, right? Because much of what we do and much of who we are is built on the routine and habits of our life. And whenever we have to go through a change, we're having to either stop and eliminate a habit or start a new habit or somehow disrupt what we currently have going, which we like. And so it's really tough to get people to on board for change. But the very first piece of the Ready, Set, Change model is R for relevant and relatable. And so what that means is we have to find a way to tell them what the benefit of the change is in a relevant and relatable way. If we can explain the change in a way that relates to them, that they can completely understand, then we are able to help them move into the next step of change. But what happens many times is we use these sort of, jargony phrases like, oh, it'll increase the integration between this system and this system. Nobody cares about that, No one cares. We're like, who cares if that happens? But if I can show you in a relevant and relatable way the why of the change, the benefit of the change, and there has to be a benefit, because if we're implementing change, we know there has to be some sort of benefit. And many times we forget to tell people what that benefit is. We're like, you should just do it. Well, nobody wants to be told to just do it. So I'll tell you, when I worked at the University of Michigan, and as I had mentioned, I had these two little daughters, right? They were like 1 and 3 when I first started working there. And, I was trying to build a change network of what we were calling a change liaison group. And this group of people was going to be folks who are in the schools and colleges and the academic units. And they all had, at that time, separate databases that they kept all of their information in. And they really loved their separate databases. They loved them. They built them. They were great. They did everything they wanted. The problem was, though, if I were in the law school, I had a student who took a class at the College of Arts and Sciences. I had to log out of my law school system, look at my sheet of paper on the wall with my login information for Arts and Sciences, log into their system, find my student, copy and paste my student's grades and information, go back into my own law school database and copy and paste that back in. It was terrible. There was no cross sharing of information anywhere. So we kept having these great meetings with about 150 people, and they were all the folks in the departments who were high enough to know how to make decisions. They're high enough to have authority to make decisions, but low enough to know how the work was still done, right? Mm-hmm. So we had our meeting with these 150 people month after month after month, and we kind of showed them this picture of databases. And we said, we're building your relational database. You'll love this. This is great. And they just would roll their eyes and keep talking. So at that time, I told you I had these two little girls. And when it would be Saturday, I would have to run and do all the errands for the whole week because I was a working mom. And I would put those girls in the car seats, and you have to put each one in that car seat, right? Snap, snap, click, snap, snap, click. And we'd go off to the grocery store. Snap, snap, click, snap, snap, click, take them out of the car seats, go into the grocery store, come out of the grocery store, click, click, snap, go to the hardware store, snap, snap, click, take them out of the car seats, back into the hardware store. And I'd have to do this over and over again, right? It's snap, snap, click, snap, snap, click. I was so frustrated. It took me hours to do errands. And I thought, this is crazy. So I was complaining about this to somebody. And they said, you have a new store. It's about 25 miles from you. You should go over to that new store. So the next weekend, I thought, well, this is stupid. I put these girls in their car seats, snapped them up, clicked them, took them over to Walmart. And when we went into Walmart, everything I needed was in one place. They had groceries, they had pharmacy, they had a hardware store, they had a bank, and they even had toys and shoes and clothes and a Subway sandwich shop to keep those girls happy while we were getting our stuff. And we went home and I was thrilled. And I thought to myself, this is what we need to use to tell our liaisons what is happening. Correct. So I told my boss, she was very technical and she kept putting up the database pictures. I told my boss, Stacy, I said, Stacy, this is the deal. we will tell our unit liaisons, we're building something like Walmart for them for data. She looked at me, she's like, I am not going to tell our unit liaisons our multi-million-dollar project is a Walmart. So the next day we had the meeting and she said, you have to listen. This is a relational database. This is very, very important. And they got up to leave. And she looked at them. She looked at me and she said, have you guys ever heard of Walmart? April's going to tell you about Walmart. And I did. I told them about my experience with Walmart and how we could create this for them so that they would go one place, get all the student data they needed, and come back out with it in one place, not have to go store to store. And when I explained this to them, they said, why didn't you say so? Of course we want Walmart. And so from that point on, they got it. And they were so intentional that when we had our design sessions, they would say to each other, don't do that because you're going to ruin the Walmart. We need it to be open. And 20 years later, that group is still in place.
Wow.
So that is the power of a relevant and relatable story of change that shows the benefit to people who need to use it.
Yes, and I love the way it's an easy story. It's your story. You show the benefit. So if we bring it to wherever we're at, and I'm going to ask Lori and Alan, and you don't need to, but I'm just saying, if you have a question about that, or if you've got someone in your life, or maybe it's even you that you have to change and do something, what kind of benefit can you put in front of it? And that's selling. Everything is selling. We're always selling our ideas, April, right? I mean, so do either one of you have someone, or maybe even you, that's going through a change that you'd like to say, yeah, I'd like to figure out how to help this person? Anyone or not?
Well, I have a little bit of a question of, I work with a municipality, a township, and they're really not all on the same page. So, and what you're talking about, April, is the change that people need to realize to get a community on the same page, basically. So how do you do that with a township or, a government body at the, lowest level?
I think that's a great question, Alan. And I think one of the keys to think about is the fact that when we're trying to create a relevant and relatable story about the benefit of the change, we think about the things that are relevant and relatable to people, right? Like I would say every person on this earth has had some sort of parent, right?
Yep.
That's something we all have in common. Many people have had children. Many people have had jobs, probably the majority of the people you're dealing with. So you start to look for those things where we all have commonality. And then we start to break down and think, what about having parents applies to this problem I'm trying to describe and could help me explain it in a way that would be relevant and relatable to people. I can relate to somebody else's situation with a parent. I didn't have their parent, they didn't have my parent, but we all have things in common with parents, right?
Yep.
Generally, parents have been like either told us something to do that we didn't do, or told us something not to do that we did do, right? That's relevant and relatable. So then I look at the benefit of the change. Like, let's say you're trying to build a new system or maybe a new program for how you're going to, apply tax assessments or something, right? What I want to look for is something about that reminds me of something around being told what to do or told not to do. And then I try to link those two pieces together. And I think, well, people don't like to get tax assessments. I'm just making this up right now.
Yeah.
You'll have to forgive me if it goes sideways, but people don't like to get tax assessments because people don't like to be told what to do, right?
Yeah.
No one likes to be told what to do. When I was a kid, my dad tried to tell me what to do, and I did the opposite. So maybe what we should think about is, what do people like to do? They like to give their input. So maybe what we do is we offer, a way for them to give input to their tax assessment before we send out the assessment. And so this change would allow that sort of interaction where they would feel like they had a voice rather than just being told what to do. And so maybe you can frame a little story around that. And the benefit of the change is that once we have more buy-in for people who are now giving us their opinion or ideas around their tax assessments, now that we have a little bit more buy-in because they're involved, the benefit of that change is that now we have a very engaged township population as opposed to being sort of just told what to do. So I think we look for the relevant and relatable that we can hook to the problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, no, okay, I like that. I mean, one of the things, COVID has kind of screwed the whole
world.
Yeah, but I mean, the government versus resident relationship up, because we're a little rural community, and the farmers used to like to come in and pay their water bill or their taxes and sit and BS for 20 minutes. Well, with COVID, they can't do that anymore. So now they put this stupid drop box in. So you got to come in and drop it into this box. So there's no interaction. And these poor seniors are having a problem because they're not allowed to do what they're normally been doing because of COVID. So
how can you take what April suggested with her tax example and put it to use? Because you've got these farmers who are seniors who can't come and chit chat. How can you and your group do something about that so they feel heard? Do you understand? Am I making sense here?
No, that's the question I keep asking all these elected officials. Here's your problem. How are you going to relate to these people? I'm just a appointed person trying to help you guys. And I've taken this great class, so I know the answer. You guys don't know. And
so how do they respond to you when you tell them this?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. They believe that I know what I'm talking about. They're looking for the reason that they should be able to embarrass me or tell me that I'm full of, shit, because they don't want to do it. Because it requires people to be responsible for what, they should be doing. And the poor resident, comes to the door and wants to interact, and, the way the government has set it up, they can't. So.
Now, if this is room, April, did you want to add anything to this, or do you think we've?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm thinking about the fact that if I think you're at a little bit of a funny position because you're saying you don't necessarily have the authority to be able to implement the change. But I think continuing to talk about the benefit of the change is something you can do.
Yes, I can suggest stuff, and a lot of them will listen to what I suggest.
Great.
But I'm not an elected official, so I'm not the one putting it in. I may suggest it and they may take it up and do it, but it's just, but the residents are feeling neglected only because, they are used to coming to this building and the doors are locked and they can't get in.
And this is a perfect example for me to jump in and do some mind shift with you, Alan. What I mean by that is, I don't care whether you're an elected official or you're just you. These are your words. They're not me. You're there. You are on a team. You use your voice very well. I know that because I've heard what you've said. This is the time when you got to get out. This is just a suggestion. You do what you want with it. Get that, but I'm not at that level. But you're there. You're on that committee for a reason, or the township, or whatever you call it.
No, I hear it. I hear it.
So your ideas, whether they're going to be used or not, is irrelevant. But we still have to push our ideas out there, or spin them, not push. Shame on me using that word. Spin our ideas. I mean, am I right, Alan? Do you need to change that mindset a little bit?
Well, my whole, the way I work, or whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, is I can tell you, and you'll never listen, but if I show you by my actions, my hope is that somebody says, I don't know what he's doing, but I want some of that.
Yes.
If I can get one person to want that, then I've fulfilled God's, whatever my job is. So
absolutely. So do us a favor. This is your homework if you decide to do it. You notice he's not writing it down, folks. The next time, he and I are very sarcastic, so we can work together. The next time something happens at one of your meetings, bring back an idea that you shared with them to one of our membership meetings, and let's hear what happened. Because you've got great ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. No, we got some issues coming up. So
good. Love issues.
Interesting too.
Just remember what April said. If sell the benefit.
Oh no, April's been very helpful. I'm going to use some of her stuff here in the next week or two. So yeah.
Woo-hoo! There's a testimonial for you, April. Well, I'm going to tell you, and then I got another question, but just a really quick example. So our glass top oven broke. It's glass. We've had it for 15 years. It broke. So my husband is from hey, we're going to get the same one, and it's easy. We're just going to ABC. And then there's me, the curious cat, who always wants to do something new. Plus, I have my children in my head saying, "Oh, Mom, gas. I can't believe you don't have a gas stove. You're going to love it with all the cooking." Blah, blah, blah. So I had a dealing with this guy that doesn't like change. I'm not saying anything bad, Alan. And I gave the benefit before I even heard you talk, April. So I feel good. I said, listen, it's going to save us so much time because it's fast and blah, 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 blah. So he now contacted a plumber who's going to do it. But if I would have done it the old Joyce way, oh, come on, it's broken, let's try something new. No. So thank you, April. So question number 2, because I see it in Video Rockstars, a group that April and I belong to, a bunch of coaches and speakers and consultants. Some of us, and I am going to say us, April, whether we like change or not, we jumped on them. We jumped this COVID train, man. We jumped on it. We've got virtual classes, memberships, a whole new career has been created. And April, I can say that because I see you and I see me and all that good stuff. There are many people that I see it. They are not just, they don't like it, it's crippling them. And all they do is say, oh, this is so hard and I don't know how I'm going to do it. And please, I sound judgmental. I just very fortunate that the people who I hang with, other coaches, they are so into the now, let's change, let's get better, blah, blah. Why is it that people like the ones that I described in Video Rockstars and others just don't like change?
Well, as I said,
well, nobody likes change.
Yeah, we don't like it because it does disrupt what we're doing. But I think sometimes people don't like it also because they cannot figure out what to do new. They don't know how to adopt the new change. And so part of understanding how to help people adopt change is to identify what do they currently have. So we had our current state before COVID hit was that people were going out and physically doing workshops, right? Going from place to place and doing meetings and speeches and workshops. And then when we had the change, people had to adapt and adopt and move to online. And some people feel like they're not as funny or expressive, or they're not as comfortable online as they are in front of an audience. And so that is a big shift for them, because now you have to look at what they had, and now what's the future state, which is what we're in, which is the change. And then what are the skill gaps between where we were and where we have to be? And so I think that's why Gina has seen such a big increase in Video Rockstars, is that a lot of people see, oh, I have a skill gap. I need to go learn something. I need to improve my online skills so that I can be online. That's the new norm. That's what people are expecting. And some people are getting the skills they need and moving quickly from, okay, I did all of this in person and now all of this online, and I can adopt this new behavior. I can learn these new tools and techniques. Some people are less able to learn quickly, and I think that makes them frustrated and slower to adopt the change. But Joyce, I agree with you. I mean, between mid-April last year to August, I did 60 PMI webinars for all sorts of different chapters all over the country and the world. And now that things are starting to go back in person a little bit, I'm kind of frustrated because so I was booked to do something in September in Florida. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to get on a plane and go to Florida to talk to people. I like to go upstairs and get on my computer. Like, I can go downstairs and eat dinner with my husband. But if I have to go to Florida, it's like a 3-day journey, So I think that I love the online world. It did take time to quickly adapt. But, just as we're all individuals and we have individual backgrounds and skills and understandings of the world, people have different individual styles about learning and adopting new behaviors as well.
Oh, that's perfect. And as a suggestion, just so you know, Gina Carr is our tribal leader. She is the one who started Video Rockstars a couple years ago. And you just said something that I think I know I can relate with, and I don't know if the three of you can. Years ago, when I used to go face-to-face to the National Speakers Association, and even though I'm a certified speaking professional, of which April is, and there are only 200 of us worldwide, women, that have this designation, I was still comparing, oh, this person is charging $1 million for a half hour, and this one is so good on video. I was, because I'm a human being. And I don't do this now, because a year ago I was. Now I started, like so many of us, a clean slate, a new career. I have no one to compare to. But now that I am doing the launch and doing all this online new stuff, people are comparing themselves to me, and even you, April. I'm saying that because I heard that. And that's not what it's about, folks. It's we've done it. Stop comparing. And if anybody from Video Rockstars is watching this, because this is going to go live, this is not a judgment. This is something I used to do myself. And the only reason I'm not is I started at ground zero. Excuse the expression, but I did. Is this making sense to you folks or not?
Yeah.
I mean, Lori, I'm going to pick on you just because I just love doing that, because you love that she's going behind. Lori.
No, I leaned back and I hit the lamp.
Oh, I thought you were looking at which Lori is she calling on? So have you ever done this in your life? Meaning you compared yourself to somebody, or maybe not, or maybe, and you, why can't I be there? And if so, how did you stop yourself? Or do you mind answering this? If you don't, just tell me.
Well, of course. I mean, everybody compares themselves. And I I don't know. I guess there's a point where you just have to say there are enough differences or their circumstances are different that this is not productive for me to continue trying to see this gap or whatever, real or perceived. I can try to improve myself and make changes to get to what I think their state is, or I can do something to get me to just a different state, which may not be where they are, but it's better than where I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess that is what I would say is my response.
Oh, that's perfect. April, do you see why I love this group? And these are only two. I can pick on them and there were no, let me think about, they just jump right in. Growth-minded people. And I'm wondering, and this is another question that I just made up. So deal with it, April. And I know you will. You're in the hot seat now. Woo-hoo. Do you think that if you're growth-minded, that helps a little?
Oh, of course, yes.
No, I'm being so serious.
No, I feel like there's
okay.
There's a part of change management that's very much mindset. Very much is about mindset. So, you know, we have to determine our mindset, and we have to recognize that our mindset and the way we think is within our control. It is something that we can do something about. And the more that we have that growth mindset, the more successful we'll be at adopting change, because we recognize that even though we don't know where we're headed, it's the current state is gone. We have to move on to the future state. And that's what I think a strong growth mindset and change mindset can do, is can help you adopt change more easily, more quickly.
Perfect. And something that just popped in my head. Oh my God, I love this session. It just popped in. What's wrong with when April came on the show about 15 minutes before everybody else did, and she and I were talking, and April, which I'm going to ask you in a moment to talk about your membership, she's got a membership. She's got more of a following. Do I feel insecure? Oh my God, yes. No, of course I don't, because I already told you, I've got a pretty good list now, better than I did before. Not as many people as April, but I asked her questions. What are you going to be doing for your membership? What are you going to blah, blah, blah. What's wrong if we see people that are doing what we want? We pick up the phone, or text someone. Can we set up a time? I got some questions to ask. What's wrong with that? That to me is also part of being a growth-minded person. Not afraid to ask, right?
Right.
Well, if you get in the creative mind versus the competitive mind, then everything April is talking about is a no-brainer. If you want to stay in the competitive mind, then you got to beat up the other person. But if you stay in the creative mind, there's enough out there for all of us to be rock stars. So everybody get in a creative mind and ditch the competitive.
Oh my God. Anybody who's watching this, let's give Ellen and Lori and April so far some woo-woo, some show.
I mean, April's talked about the creative mind.
Yes.
Versus she doesn't subscribe to the competitive. She's talking about everybody being creative and helping one another. Mm-hmm. So that's
another testimonial for you, April. You've got a few already. Yeah, this is Gazette. That's so good. That's so good, because we all have that competitive spirit. We do.
Well, we're taught that.
Yeah.
That we have to be competitive in whatever profession we're in. But if you really boiled the water out and we all started being creative and help one another, there's more than enough abundance for each of us to, even if we are all growth coaches, all four of us here, there's more than enough out there for all of us to be, multi-millionaires, if you want you know, if you're going to
Right.
use money as the thing. So yes.
And when we're talking about competitive, I am very competitive within myself. I compete against Joyce, and this is part of the reason why I don't go to sleep very well, because I'm always having that, you can do better, not like putting myself down, but what else new? What other new shiny object is out there that I'm going to grab and it's going to make my life and my virtual class's life better? Always thinking, always thinking.
Well,
I think
if you wake up tomorrow and say, how can I be a better Joyce today than I was yesterday, being competitive, great.
yes.
But how can I beat April at whatever she's doing?
No.
Then that's not helping you or April.
No.
So
I promise that's not. I promise, Alan, that's not what I'm doing.
I know that's not, or I wouldn't be on this call anymore.
Oh my God, you'd be climbing mountains behind you.
No, I would be off somewhere else. But yes.
I know, at your meeting. Thank you. So, April, tell us about your book, please. I mean, you told us about the title, but tell us a little bit about chapters and who is it for, and your membership. Just because there may be people listening, there will be people listening and watching, and they may say, "Oh, I need to get there."
Sure. So the book is Ready, Set, Change, Simplify and Accelerate Organizational Change. And the way that I started to write the book, it's a nonfiction, of course, with kind of this model and everything. But then I thought, you know, I really like to see how things are applied. For me, I read a lot, and I'm happy to read like directions, like do this, step 1, step 2. But sometimes, in addition to understanding the why behind something, I want to know the how. I always like to know the how. And so I created it with a narrative of a project manager, an HR manager, and a change management consultant who are all trying to implement a change. And so at the beginning of each chapter, there's a little narrative about their conversation with each other. The HR manager hasn't led change before, and she's saying like, gosh, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing. Why, what am I supposed to do? And then the consultant says, oh, well, here's some steps you should do. And then it goes into more of that directive nonfiction text as to, the why we're doing things the way we're doing them. But I like the storyline. I like the juxtaposition of the story of how this, this group was implementing change and some of the personal and professional changes they were implementing, as well as the parallel story of how you can apply this Ready, Set, Change method to a change that you're leading. So for me, I feel like I love that narrative. It's something that I enjoyed writing, and it made me feel more connected in the sense that I was sharing kind of this these 3 characters and the journey they were on, as well as the kind of application of using this methodology.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? When you launched it and you said, hey, not just to me, but to the world, you can get it. And I got it. It's on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. Oh. And I can't wait, because now that I know I haven't read any book. The only thing I've read lately is my Bird magazine, just to take a little break from work, because everything is work because of a year ago. But that is going to be my go-to book. And how can people find it?
It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle, and I don't have an audiobook yet, but paperback on Amazon. Ready, Set, Change. Good. And then the membership is the Change and Project Professionals Collaborative. And it is a combination membership. I'm really excited about it. It's project management folks, HR professionals, as well as change management professionals who are all interested in sharing ideas and having a masterclass with me every month, having a networking session a couple times a month, making sure that we have expert guest interviews and connections, and then also doing test prep and some professional development units as well. So it's a really exciting membership for me because I feel like I'm a PMP, I'm a CCMP, I bring these pieces together, and I have a lot of connections with folks who are in HR, and I just feel like the three come together so perfectly in learning about change and project management and how to make things easier for our end users, for our stakeholders who have to adopt change. I think is just a fabulous mission. So I'll put it in the chat if anybody.
Oh, please. And there it is, right. April Callis Birchmeier mykajabi.com/change dash. Actually, I am going to, before we leave, I'm going to take a picture of that because I want people who are looking at this video right now, can they join? Does it have to be now, or could they join a different time? Or
it's open until April 12th. We're closing the membership April 12th. We're having a big kickoff on my birthday, April 13th. And then we will open the membership back up again in September. So it's going to be closed for a while because I want to, really pour my energy and heart and soul into providing a really enriching, exciting place for project management professionals and HR and change management professionals to learn and grow together. And then we'll offer some additional openings in September.
Oh, that's great. It sounds wonderful. Thank you. Oh, this has been so much fun. There's a fireside chat with April in April. And for those of you watching, you don't know this, but every single person on this screen either has a birthday in April or May. I mean, we got Aries, we got Taurus, we got Taurus. It's been a delight. And before I sign off, is there any question, or does anybody have anything that they need to say or right now?
No, thank you, April. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think just expressing the concept of buy-in and putting the benefit up front to the people you're working with. It sounds so simple, but people skip that. So yeah, thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
I really appreciated talking with you. I'm honored to be here, and I really appreciate your interaction and comments and thoughts as well.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
Well, I look forward, and I'll let you know how Ready, Set, changes, April, when I read it. I'll let you know if you should buy it or not, okay?
Joyce, you may be direct, but do it with respect.
There you go.
Woo! Listen to this. I will. Thank you.